Okay, today's warm-up is 2004 Form B, question number 3. This is one of the short questions from the back. This one's going to have the countries of Newland and Beeland and cloth and food. So what they're going to be asking is, the table above gives the production alternatives to nations that are producing cloth and food using equal amounts of resources. So these are their max productions. If it says that's what they can produce, if you were to do it on a PPC, it would still end up looking like 10 and 2 or 10 and 1, whichever one. So that's their max productions. So to set everything up, remember, get the max productions, put them in a fraction, and reduce. So when we do that, let me try to focus this in. Okay, so some people set this up different. I just like to get things in terms of 1 so I can see it. So I know that in Newland, this is new, and this is B, Newland and Beeland, and if you want to pause it so you can get everything set up, you can do it that way, because I already did it, and makes the video shorter. Alright, so 10 cloth over 2 food, I get that from up here. 10 cloth over 2 food, so I can even say, look, that's 10 and 2, that's where my 10 and 2 come from. And I'm going to reduce that down, that's a 5 to 5 over 1. So I know that 1 food is going to cost 5 cloth, so 1 food equals the opportunity cost. They could have been making 5 cloth. So then I do my reciprocal up top. So for them, I know every time they make 1 unit of cloth, it costs them a chance to make 1/5 a unit of food. So over here, it's already done for us. It's at 10 and 1 already. So I know that 1 food is going to equal 10 cloth. Then 1 cloth is going to equal 1/10 of a food. So now I can see who has opportunity cost. Remember that who is the country that makes it for less. Okay, so 1/5 compared to 1/10. That looks like Beeland is going to have the opportunity cost and the production of cloth. 10 and 5, I know that 5 is lower than the 10, so I know Newland is going to have opportunity cost. They're going to have lower opportunity cost in the production of food. They're going to have lower opportunity cost in the production of cloth. So now I know who's the importer, the exporter, the buyer, the seller, the manufacturer, any of those words that they come up with. So the first one, make sure you read the instructions very carefully. The table above gives the production alternatives of 2 nations that are producing cloth and food using equal amounts of resources. Calculate the opportunity cost of producing a unit of cloth in Newland. It does not say explain. That's a nice thing. So the opportunity cost of a unit of cloth in Newland, if I look at Newland, every time they make cloth, it costs them 1/5 of the food. So that is going to be 1/5 of a food. And since it doesn't say explain, that's actually all you have to write. Okay, I know on the back of this person made a 5 on the AP exam. I know because it says 3A right there. It's not very clear, sorry, but it does. So anyways, they wrote big complete sentences and paragraphs, and you don't have to do that. Okay, so on to the second part of A. I'm going to try and focus this thing again. I think it's the glare. Alright. Calculate the opportunity cost of producing a unit of food in Beeland. Well, in Beeland, I know that 1 food is going to cost 10 units of cloth. Alright. So who has comparative advantage in cloth production? Well, we solved earlier down here that that's going to be Beeland. And comparative in food production, that's going to be Newland. Now assume that the productivity of Beeland's workers triples for each good. Which country has comparative advantage in food production? Okay, so if we look at Beeland and we triple their production of each unit, so those are both going to be times 3. That's going to equal to 30 over 3 for cloth and food. So if they triple theirs, which country has comparative advantage in food production? Well, we already solved that up here, and I know that 30 and 3, if they triple both, that's still a 1-to-10 ratio. So this doesn't really change. This is a trick question. Welcome to College Board. They like doing little annoying things like that. So Newland is still going to have comparative advantage in the production of food because 5 is still cheaper than 10, no matter how you do this fraction. So that's going to be Newland. And explain how you determined your answer. Well, this, if I explain that it goes to 30 and 3, and you can word it up a little bit however you want to, but all you're really saying here is Beeland's productivity has tripled opportunity cost remains 10 to 2 or 5, and Beeland remains 30 to 3 or 10, right? And you could have just said it triples or however, but the ratio did not change. If you explain that, I think you'd just be just fine on that. All right, so there we go.